Vre sapleshtar numa ye, numa ye, numa ye, ki putau shi dragostiadinte, miaminteskte o kitaye. Hello everyone, Darth Vegan here, and there is a problem going on in this country at the moment with pigs and how they can't basically can't get butchers in from abroad because of Brexit to cut up their bodies and sell them on the market. So yeah, I decided I couldn't really ignore it any longer because we now have this video by Byline TV called Devastated Farmers Pigs to Die in Vain, which it's kind of like, well, you don't really need to eat pigs to survive, so they're kind of dying in vain anyway. And especially like with bacon and sausages, this actually increases your risk for death. So because it's quite fatty and cancerous and everything. So yeah, let's check it out and see what they have to say.
The laughingstock of Europe. Christmas is partially cancelled already. Pigs in blankets and things like that. There isn't the staff to do it, so the shelves are going to be bare. It's a devastation.
Okay, so automatically he's saying that Christmas is going to be cancelled. Well, it's not really going to be cancelled. I mean, you can probably get, like, why do people think we somehow need to eat animals for it to be Christmas? I mean, surely it's about love rather than, having to kill so we can celebrate the tradition of Christmas, right? I don't understand. And also he's saying the shelves are going to be bare. Like, you can probably fill them with more veggies or, like, with, like, tofurkey and, vegetarian bacon or whatever. I don't, saying that pigs in blankets, which, by the way, is probably the most perverse thing ever. Like, a pig wrapped in a blanket of itself. Like, it's...
It shouldn't be happening at all in this country.
No, I totally agree with that we shouldn't be killing pigs in this country. Okay, having a little intro here. In a civilized Western country, why are we still killing to eat?
It's the biggest crisis in farming I've ever seen. I've lived through foot and mouth twice. I don't think anybody else in the world has ever killed livestock because we haven't been able to deal with it. It's a first. Hiya, pigs!
Oh, saying hello to the pigs, huh?
We've just not got enough butchers.
So yeah, he's basically saying about how we don't have enough butchers, so yeah, that's sort of what I sort of went over earlier, but yeah, let's carry on.
We're only 40% self-sufficient in pork in this country, so there isn't an oversupply. We just do not have enough butchers to cut them up. So the pigs will be slaughtered, but they get to the end of the line, nobody's to cut them up, and they have to shut the plant down.
So yeah, this is kind of sad, but like, it's just. I'm sort of wondering, do you have to kill the pigs, or can you give them to a sanctuary where they can live out their lives? Like, I don't understand. Do you have to make a profit off their suffering? It's just annoying, Or do they even have to suffer in general? Do you actually have to kill them? Tell me that.
Had the foreign workers here, they got stuck here when COVID hit, and then travel restrictions were lowered and they went home, and then we stuck visas on, meaning they couldn't come back as easily, and lo and behold, we got a crisis.
Now, by the way, I don't actually agree with Brexit, but you know what, these guys who say that, you know, oh, it's devastating the pork industry or whatever. Like, literally, Brexit is devastating, but it's devastating the things I don't like. It's kind of strange, because it's disrupting our supply of fuel, our supply of fish, our supply of CO2 to kill turkeys, and people to butcher pigs, like, you know. So I don't know.
We have been saying for the last 6 months this is happening, and we've not been listened to until it gets to be such a point that pigs are going to be killed on farm.
Oh dear, they're going to have to be killed on farm. Oh, what are we going to do? You know, because you would much rather send them to a slaughterhouse to be shot and then stabbed to death and then bled out, so then you can make a profit off their body. This is just... I would have sympathy for you, but like Boris Johnson jokingly said, they're going to die anyway. I mean, I don't agree with Boris, I think he's horrible, but he's right, you know. But we'll see. We'll cover that later.
Every week we have 100 pigs born, and we can't stop that. It takes 10 months to stop production. So if we stop today,
that pig there was trying to get out. Come on, come on. Shall we go back? Like, they clearly want something there. They're begging. There.
It takes 10 months to stop production. So if we stop today, it's 10 months before we turn the pig supply off. And if we don't produce the pigs, we get fined by the supermarkets for breach of contract. And if we make them too big, we're getting fined for making them too big. But if they don't take them, they keep on growing.
Well, I don't think you'd get fined, really, if you just give them to someone who actually cares about pigs and would look after them properly, rather than, you know... I mean, I don't know what this guy does to his pigs, but I can't imagine he treats them too nicely. But I'm only assuming. Oh god, an ambulance going past. Perhaps they had too much pork. I don't know. Having to be rushed to hospital because their cancer got too bad. I shouldn't joke about that sort of stuff, but yeah.
So it's a no-win situation at the moment.
You should never throw food away. A lot of around the media at the minute is about passing food down to the poverty line and helping people.
Yeah, but yeah, you shouldn't throw food away, but throwing it down your neck and down the toilet is perfectly okay. And by the way, I can't really see these animals as food necessarily. It just doesn't sit right with me, you know.
People that need it, and we're just
people that need it. Sorry. You don't need to eat pigs to survive. Like I've already said, you don't. In fact, you'd be better off if you didn't.
Basically just throwing food in the bin. Good protein that we've worked really.
Good protein. This guy looks like a crop farmer. Like, you know, I mean, you could get good protein from the crops that you grow, right? Surely. And you know what? These butchers from abroad, it's only because, you know, British people don't want to butcher those animals themselves. That's why we have to import from abroad. Because, you know, we're basically a nation of animal lovers, and it would just gross us out.
Or to grow, looked after them, and they're being wasted.
No, look at them. How could you pay for their death? Like, just give them to a sanctuary. In fact, you know what? I would be happy to adopt those pigs myself. Come on. Don't do this to them.
One of the main comments that Boris Johnson said on the Andrew Marr show was they're going to die anyway.
I hate to break it to you, Andrew, but I'm afraid our food processing industry does involve the killing a lot of animals.
Yes, about 1 billion a year in the UK, excluding marine animals. So, you know, it's not... I don't have sympathy for these farmers. I have way more sympathy for the pigs who are actually suffering. In fact, I just generally have sympathy for them, you know, when I see them being, you know, on someone's plate. Like, it's gross to me.
Which, yes, they are correct, but
Yeah.
not to be thrown away. They need to be used.
Incorrect. In fact, a lot of their body will be thrown away, and the fact that the meat doesn't last very long, not as long as vegan products, you know, because it has a shorter shelf life, so actually a lot of it is thrown away. So, you know, and the head and the trotters and the bones, it's all actually the bones you can use for gelatin, but yeah.
They can't die in vain as such.
Well, they are dying in vain. Like, come on, they are dying in vain, aren't they? Like, to just be bacon or sausages or whatever. It doesn't, you know, when you don't need to eat bacon or sausages to live. You'd live longer without bacon and sausages, so...
It'd be terrible. I don't think I'd be able to be around while they get shot. Shot, piled up, waited for the knacker man, taken away and burned. It's horrible. We had a farm fire 10 years ago, and that was horrible. That really hit us, and that was only 80 pigs, and we're talking about thousands.
Terrible. I know. But you're fine with sending them to the
I've been farming all my life
slaughterhouse.
since we were 14, 15 year old.
Yeah.
Like from beef farms, dairy farms, pig farms, poultry farms, you wouldn't hear me. Yeah, it's a devastation. It shouldn't be happening at all in this country. You don't hear it in other countries, you know. Like, it's a shame what's happening.
Yeah, it's a shame what's happening, and actually it is happening all over the world. Pigs are being killed all over the world in vain, just so people can enjoy their bodies. And by the way, the taste from bacon, people talk about the smoky flavour, which doesn't even come from the meat. It comes from the smoky flavouring you put on it. So, you know, end me.
Since we went out to Brexit, the lamb trade has gone sky high because we're not exporting them. The same with the beef, that's gone sky high. But since this all's happened, all the pork industry, it's just gone on rock bottom, and it shouldn't be happening.
Christmas is partially cancelled already. Pigs in blankets and things like that haven't been made yet.
Christmas has already been partially cancelled. Oh, boo-hoo. I couldn't see my grandma last year. Which, by the way, is probably the true definition of a good Christmas, is where you sort of with family, rather than, you know, needlessly killing animals just so you can have them on your table. Like, I'm perfectly fine having a Christmas where I don't, you know, have an animal killed on my plate. Like, you know, give me the vegetables. Give me a tofurkey or a nut roast. They
usually start making those in June. There isn't the staff to do it, so the shelves are going to be bare of all the little goodies, all the platters of different pork products you have for your Christmas parties. So that's not going to happen, and it's just going to get worse if we don't get these butchers in. We seem to be the laughing stock of Europe. I'm talking to German, Dutch and Japanese TV crews because they just can't understand how we've let this happen, and neither can I.
The Brexit causes about 95% of the pork industry hitting rock bottom, you know, and the government, they're not bothered about agriculture.
Okay, so, we've reached the end of the video, and, okay, I'll stop that. So yeah, it's just like, oh god. 95% of the pork industry has hit rock bottom. Soon may the wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go.